Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you to the 2020 State College of Florida Hall of Fame induction ceremony. My name is Matt Ennis. I'm an athletic director at State College of Florida, and it's my distinct pleasure to have you here and welcome you to the college. Just a housekeeping piece. First and foremost, if we can make sure we put these things on to vibrate. I just did that myself, or turn it off, whichever one works for you. Bathrooms are in the back corner here, should you need them. Tonight we'll have 4 amazing individuals inducted into our Hall of Fame, have a great meal together, and hopefully have a memorable evening. To welcome you to the ceremony, I would like to introduce Dr. Richard Barnhouse.
Thanks, Matt. Good evening. It's great to see everyone. Welcome to the State College of Florida's 2020 Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony. It really is my pleasure to be here with you tonight, accompanied by the president of the State College of Florida, Dr. Carol Probsfield. Dr. Probsfield, would you mind standing to be recognized, please? Dr. Probsfield. We are here to celebrate the new Athletic Hall of Fame inductees. This is truly an honor for each of you, and an honor to be shared with your families, friends, coaches, and teammates who are here to support you this evening. MJC, MCC, SCF, as an institution, is steeped in athletic achievement and an equally rich athletic history. We proudly support, promote, and celebrate both the athletic and academic achievements of those student athletes who are committed to performing brilliantly in athletic competition and in academics. SCF athletics is as old as the institution itself. Hundreds of student athletes have represented MJC, MCC, and SCF. Of those, very few have been inducted into the Athletic Hall of Fame. Tonight, as a result of your hard work and dedication and exceptional careers as student athletes, you will be joining this elite group as official members of the State College of Florida Athletic Hall of Fame. Thank you to all of you for sharing in tonight's induction ceremony, and a sincere congratulations to all of the inductees.
So to overview the evening, we will break in just a few minutes and start dinner. As we're into dinner, as we're wrapping up dinner, we will go into the inductions themselves. We'll invite each one of the 4 inductees up here to speak with you as they're inducted. So as a order of operations, you should have received a name tag when you arrived. It's very important that those name tags are used as you go through the buffet line. The color code tells us what you ordered so that we can make sure to fulfill that for you. So please grab that. If you're not wearing it, you can just show it. That's fine as well. What I would like to do first is invite the tables that have inductees seated to first go through the buffet line. Buffet line is directly to the back of the building, and it will start on my right and go across. Okay, so the tables that have the inductees, if you would go ahead and go to the buffet line. I hope you enjoyed your meal. Would like to continue with our evening. First, I want to thank some of our fantastic sponsors. Baker's Sporting Goods for sponsoring our cocktail hour. West Florida Limousine for sponsoring our student athletes that get to attend this event. Ed Moss and MKA CPA Associates. The Harrington family, the Delacqua family, Joanne Campbell, Mr. and Mrs. Pat Osborne, Mr. and Mrs. John Grubb, Margot and John Ennis, and Larry Dolfelmeyer. It's such a tremendous honor to have the support of folks like that for an evening like this. It's something that is just the cornerstone of who we are, that those folks feel that they can invest in that and that it's a worthy investment. Particularly pleased that Baker's Sporting Goods, our connection there is an alumni who thinks so strongly of our program to support it in this way. It speaks volumes of what our baseball program and our athletic program is about. And the sponsorship of our student athletes, that it's so important for us as an event that it's not only honoring our Hall of Famers, but that our current student athletes, so that they can be here and see the tradition of SCF, MJC, and MCC, what it means to be a Lancer and what it means to be a Manatee. I think that's so valuable. I'd like to take a moment and recognize a few of our Hall of Famers that are in the audience. If you would, stand up or raise your hand, whatever your fancy. Mr. David Moats. Mr. Nick Cafaro. Coach Chip Sides. Coach Wayne Stelfox. Mr. John O'Connor. Mr. Rick Lankford. Rick was the first one to stand up, by the way. Mr. Stanley Cromartie. And representing Mr. Tim Hill, Miss Jenny Hill. And while he's not with us, we are in his building, Dr. Korchek's building, fitting place for this event to take place. Honored to bring it back to campus, honored to recognize our tradition in this way. We're going to kind of do a flip on our agenda. We wanted to respect, and my gosh, time out, back up. I forgot the grandfather of the program, Coach Wynn. My heavens. I may not be invited back for that one. You're going to get to hear from him in just a moment. And just order of operations, we're going to kind of flip things, and we're going to honor Keith Smith first. Keith couldn't be with us, so we're going to kind of take a bit of a turn with this. He has sent his good friend Moody Johnson, who will accept the award. So we'll kind of go out of order to do that and honor him. As I was preparing for tonight, looking over these amazing accomplishments of these individuals, words like national champion, All-American, state champion, teammate, they all jumped out. They were all used to describe these individuals for their accomplishments, their individual accomplishments that brought great favor on this institution and on their team. They're remarkable individuals whose accomplishments will stand forever. Tonight, they join a tradition of excellence in our Hall of Fame. I'd like to invite Coach Wynn to start us out as we speak about Mr. Keith Smith. Keith Smith was nominated as a student. He won the Suncoast Conference Championship, state championship, finished as national runner-up, All-American outfielder who moved on to play professional baseball and have his opportunity in the major leagues, a true gem of our program. Coach Wynn and I are playing Dodge.
Thank you very much. In looking around as I was coming up, I think that I need to say at this point, I think I told myself the other day, if I could speed up just a little bit, I'd stop. So be patient with me, will you please? Okay, I've been asked to say a few words about Keith, and it's an easy thing to do. Keith was a good, easygoing guy, tremendous athlete. When his brother Bobby played second base for us when Keith was a senior in high school, so Bobby was coming, here the next year. Well, I've been watching Keith, of course, grow up because he was a great, football player, probably one of the best I've ever seen. So I didn't pay much attention to him. So one day when I went out to practice here, Keith was over there, and Bobby said, "Keith said he want to talk to you." I said, "Okay, bring him on over." So Keith told me then, he said, "I've decided that I don't want to play football. I want to see if I can't make a profession out of playing baseball." He said, "What do you think?" He said, "Can you still take me?" I said, "Yes, sir, I can take you." So anyway, I did. And he became, of course, one of the most outstanding players we've ever had here. Think with me a little bit. What I just said about him is he was one of the most outstanding players we've had here at this college. That's a lot. Because if you don't believe it, just look around you at the arms that were raised as names were called. This is something to be, aware of and proud of. I've got one little story that I want to tell you about Keith's performance. And then my plan is here to give some of these other fellows an opportunity to say something about Keith if they want to, in fact. We were playing in, we were playing a team over in Central Florida. And Keith was on third base. And Mark Saber, who was one of the best college third baseman that there will ever be, was our third baseman. Well, he was a really good defensive player, but he didn't hit well. So Keith was on third base, and we had one out. And the type of team that was that year, if you gave up one run, defense was our forte. And if you gave up one run, they're going to have to work like heck to get two. So that's the way we played. So Keith was on third base with one out. And Mark Saber, who's dead now, God rest his soul, was at bat. And we got one out. And so I figured, this is just normal coaching. I figured, well, we might as well get one out of this because Mark's not that good of an RBI hitter. So I put my signs for the squeeze play I made verbally, as verbal signs, because it had to be transferred, and I had to be sure that the guy at the plate got the sign, because if he didn't, here comes a guy coming down third baseline might be jumping on his back. So anyway, I put the squeeze sign on, and everybody in the dugout got it but Mark. Now, so the pitch came on, and it was headed toward the plate. Keith was coming right down the line, going wide open, because I didn't believe in a safety squeeze. I said, you either do it or you don't. So Keith was coming right down on his back, and he hadn't taken 3 or 4 steps before I saw that Mark didn't have the sign. So I was thinking, Keith, duck. So the way it happened turned out good. The Lord took care of us. Keith was going down the line, and Mark did not have the sign, but he went ahead and hit on his own, hit the ball out of the park. So Keith said, when he came by me, he said, skip. And I said, yes, all right, you got in there. So I'll always remember that because of Keith and Mark both, because the two of them were two of the best players that have ever come out of this, call it baseball factory if you want to, I don't care. So there's that. Okay, now tonight, now there's a lot of things I could say more about Keith, but tonight I'm going to, this class that's here that played with Keith, I'm going to give them an opportunity. Now guys, don't take a lot of our time, but I would want to give anybody an opportunity, any off of our team that year, and those of you that are here to honor Keith by the fact that you showed up here for tonight, I want to give you an opportunity to maybe say a couple of words on Keith's behalf. Appreciate you being here. God bless you all. This one coming up, I just figured, everybody knows Johnny O'Connor, so I didn't, introduce him. But this is one of the best guys, best baseball players that God ever made, John O'Connor.
Thanks, Skip. Stay right here. I want to just say, before I say anything about Keith, I just wanted to say that a lot of the guys that I played with 50 years ago are back here this week. And a lot of them came back because of this man right here. We love you, Skip. We thank you for giving us the opportunity to come to this college and play. You are one of a kind, and we truly love you to the man. And we all talked about it, and the reason we're here is because of you. So thank you very much. Yesterday when I talked to Skip, I said, Skip, now you got to make sure you make it to the meeting tomorrow night. He said, no problem. He said, I'll be there. So you give me a call if you can't make it. So about 5 minutes later, my phone rings, and I look down on my caller ID, and it was Skip. And he goes, I said, what's up? He goes, not much. He said, I just wanted to make sure I had your phone number. I said, oh, yeah. He said, well, now, just in case anything happens, you do have the phone number for 911, don't you? Keith and Bobby Smith both played here, and Bobby played he was in my first year, and Bobby was a wonderful guy. He was a hard-nosed player, and he was just completely the opposite of Keith. Keith was laid back when anything goes, but I think Keith was really was a better player than Bobby all across the board. And I'll tell you, Keith was about 2 inches taller than I am, outweighed me by 30 pounds, and it was all muscle. And I'll tell you, the worst day I ever had there was Keith had this brown bat, and man, I batted right after Keith, and I never touched that bat. And one day that bat was out there at practice, and I said, I'm going to use old Keith's bat. And I swung that bat and broke it right in half. And I said, I got to go home. And I don't mean to 26th Street. I meant back to Alexandria, Virginia. So I went over and told Keith, I said, Keith, we got a problem. I said, I broke your bat. I'm going to call my dad tonight and make sure he sends me a check tonight to get that one replaced. But Keith was a fantastic player, and bat him right behind Rick Lankford. He really carried our team for quite a bit of that season, and he was just a wonderful person. And I miss seeing him here tonight, but wish him the best. Do any of you other guys have anything to say? I think that's it. Then we'll leave it over to Mr. Johnson. Oh, here comes somebody. Here comes Rick Lankford.
I got one thing about Keith I want to bring up for the crowd here. Oh, excuse me. Hello, everyone. My name is Rick Lankford. I played with Keith and Johnny O, and we're part of the reunion that's here, and thank you for having us. Quick story about Keith. Keith and I had a chance to play the outfield with Keith when I was a player here. He was a teammate, great person, as we've talked about, and helped carry us all the way to the national championships that year. I was extremely fortunate. As my career went on, I got a chance to pitch for the Oakland Athletics, and Keith went on and became an outfielder, and he was with the Texas Rangers. Please share this with Keith, Mr. Johnson, when you see him. And so here we are on a beautiful Saturday afternoon, the home game in Oakland, California. I'm pitching. I looked at the lineup, and Keith's in the lineup. So here's I'm having a chance to play against one of my college players here. So anyway, it's kind of a surreal feeling when you're out there in the game starting. There's a nice crowd. It's a beautiful day, and we're playing the game we love. And Sure enough, here comes Keith up to bat. So we took a moment to look at each other, me from the mound, him to home plate, and thought, wow, this is pretty cool. First fastball I threw, he hit it over the left field wall. And as he rounded the bases, I just thought about how bad he hurt my feelings right there. You know? But he was, I just wanted to bring, that's a true story. And I'll tell that when I see him. And he goes, no, that didn't happen, but it did. And I just thought that was a great moment in our lives, you know, after to have something like, wanted to share it with you. Please relay that to Keith when you see him. Mr. Johnson, I wish him the best. Thank you.
Thanks, Rick. Come on up, Mr. Johnson.
Right here. Go ahead and share the words first.
Thank you. On behalf of Keith Smith and his entire family, I'm honored. I'm really honored because I'm a few days older than Keith and Bobby and Barney, his brother. As a matter of fact, I watched them grow up in Palmetto, and we had dirt roads then, but they didn't mind because Bobby was a tough cookie. We had a couple of fights in the old Palmetto Youth Center, and they thought they were going to double team me one day, but they didn't know I was raised by a snake, my daddy. And I put my back in the corner, and every time they came, I whacked them. But they were tough guys, and they were very good athletes, and they were good men. And of course, I'm deeply honored that you are here tonight to acknowledge his athletic skills, but he was just a great guy. He really was. And Keith, if you get a chance to see this video, I salute you, and you make Palmetto real proud. We love you, and we thank Manatee Junior College, State College of Florida for this honor and this opportunity. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Coach Wynn, because he is the foundation of all of these guys that you see here today. And I used to sit in the stands and watch the games. I wasn't a good baseball player, but I was a heck of a football player. And God gets all the credit. Amen. Thank you so much. Let's give. So I thank you. Thank you.
Come in a picture?
Yeah, Coach Wynn, you come on, baby.
Come on, you come in this picture.
Take your time.
Somebody get a good grip behind him.
I got you. Let's go right over here.
Okay.
By Johnny. Johnny, get that picture. Let's get right next to you.
Just be still, Moody. Let me lean against you.
You lean on me, baby. Thank you so much.
Good to see you.
You still have your hunting dogs with you.
Yeah.
You still got
No, I don't have any now.
but you had some good ones.
Thank you. Another round of applause for Keith, please. It is truly an honor to introduce Coach Wayne Stelfox. He will introduce our next inductee into the Hall of Fame. Coach Stelfox, please join me at the podium.
Thank you, Matt. I'd also like to thank the staff and the committee who organized tonight's event. It's nice to see everyone in attendance this evening to honor the 2020 inductees. It's special to be on campus where our inductees spent a considerable amount of time as student athletes at MJC, MCC, SCF. To be in the Korchek building is significant because Dr. Korchek was a tremendous supporter of student athletes and athletics here. He and Coach Wynn built MCC into one of the elite athletic programs in Florida. The Hall of Fame committee puts a considerable amount of time and effort into the selection process, and we'd like to thank them tonight for their efforts. I don't want to forget to acknowledge members of our women's basketball coaching staff and their wives who are in attendance to honor Kelly and the other inductees this evening. That's Dale Dobbs and his wife Ann, Sandra Fox, Derek King, and my wife Anne Marie. Upon Matt notifying me of Kelly's induction, I called her and left a message. Then I paused and thought about how many student athletes, young ladies from Manatee High School, had played at MCC, MJC, in women's basketball, because that's Kelly's alma mater. And so I started to think back through that list. Sandy Hudson, Kim Comstock, Van Kelly, Jan Kelly, Missy Cavanaugh, Kathy Morash, Tara Duquette, and our inductee tonight, Kelly Bradley. Some of these girls are in the record books here in women's basketball, and a number of them were significant contributors, to the women's basketball program. At the time, Manatee High School was coached by Steve Olson, Dale Dobbs, who came on our staff later on, and John Dwiggins. And during the late 70s and the early 90s, they had one of the top programs in the area. And I know Steve, so I decided to call Steve and ask him to attend this evening. When I got him on the phone, he said it was a great honor for Kelly, but he would be unable to attend due to a prior commitment. He elaborated by saying he hadn't attended Sandy Hudson's induction in '09 here, and he had not even attended his assistant coach Dale Dobbs and wife's daughter and Ann Dobbs' daughter's weddings either. So I asked Steve what happened. And he said, now many of you may know that Steve raises pigeons, and his nickname is Pigeon. He happens to have this weekend, the National Pigeon Convention. So, Kelly, you are with some elite company, and Sandy, Dale, and Ann's daughters. He did tell me to say to you, and I don't know what this means, so maybe you can explain it when you get up here. Chicken, you did good. As a senior at Manatee High School, Kelly helped lead the Lady Canes to a 21-6 record. She averaged 11.8 points, 8.1 rebounds, and 3.5 blocks, and was selected all-area. When I asked Coach Olson to give me a description of Kelly, he said, she's a hard worker, hustler who's willing to work on her game all year round. We needed help at the power forward position because we had a girl by the name of Sherry Snyder who had graduated and went to Evangel College in Missouri to play. And although Kelly had played post in high school, we felt that she could expand her game to become a power forward at the college level. Kelly would be joining a group of sophomores who had some front court experience and a really good guard. The 86-87 Lancers had depth, well-balanced scoring, and well-balanced playing time. But in the second game of the season, the starting power forward injured her knee. And this is where Kelly stepped in to fill the void. That season, she averaged 8.5 points, 5.8 rebounds, 1.5 steals, 1.4 assists, a field goal percentage of 43%, and 65% from the free throw line. Her season highs that season were 18 points and 12 rebounds. That team was ranked number 5 in the state and region with a 23-9 record, unbeaten Suncoast Conference champions for the 3rd consecutive year. In the quarterfinal against number 4 Edison, we won in overtime 69-67. We were playing at FCCJ, that's Jacksonville. In the semifinal, they're number 1 in the state, number 3 in the nation. We're down 6 with 3 minutes to go, and we kind of ran out of gas at that point and ended up losing 75-62. As we entered the 87-88 season, we had 3 sophomores from the previous year who had moved on. They were first team or second team all-conference, and one was second team all-region. We felt that the returning starting lineup of Missy Cavanaugh and Kim Heil at the guards, Sandra Fox, Cassandra Hatley, and Kelly in the front court would be able to make an easy transition into the next season. That proved to be difficult. As we entered the December break, our record was 7-8. Now, Coach Wynn gave us flexibility in scheduling, except generally your conference games were set. And I did the schedule the previous spring, and I scheduled Palm Beach Junior College. Number 1 in the state, unbeaten, averaging 100 points a game. That's who we began January with. That first game back in January, we are down at 1 at the end of the first half, ahead by 6 at the end of the second half, lose that lead, and end up winning in overtime 82-75. The front court scored 57 points in that game. Kelly had 25 of those points. That game seemed to send our girls a wake-up call. From that game on, we were playing closer to our potential. That 87-88 team, Kelly averaged 16.3 points, which was first on that team, 7.6 rebounds, which was second, 1.8 steals, which was second, 53% field goal percentage, and 67% free throw percentage. That Lady Lancer team completed the season 20-13, ranked number 5 in the state, went unbeaten in conference for the 4th consecutive year. We qualified for the state regional tournament and played Central Florida Community College, the number 4 team in the state, in the quarterfinal. With 10 minutes to go in the game, it's tied 45-45. Kelly had gotten into foul trouble early in the second half. We weren't even a minute in with 4 fouls. So we sat her out till 10 minutes was left in the game, and that was kind of a risk, but at that point it looked like we needed it. In the next, actually, 9 minutes and 43 seconds, she scored 17 points. We ended up winning that game 76-68. That game she had 26 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 steals. The following evening we played against Palm Beach in the semifinal and unfortunately lost 88-68. But Kelly averaged 17 points a game in the regional finals. That season she was named All-Tournament in the Indian River Tournament, was selected first team All-Conference, and second team All-Region. Her GPA when she graduated here, left MCC, was a 3.21 GPA. In her career at MCC, she's second in single season scoring, second in career scoring, 5th in single season rebounds, 5th in career rebounds, and 9th in career steals. Kelly had 7 scholarship offers and selected UCF to continue her student athlete, as a student athlete. Now our goals as a coaching staff was of course to be competitive, which we were, but also to have players, 1, academically moving on to their junior year, 2, help them have scholarship opportunities, and 3, have them prepared to contribute at the next level. We didn't just want them sitting at the next level or being a bench warmer or something like that. We wanted to actually, you could look back and they were getting playing time. As a junior and senior at UCF, she was a starter. Her senior year, she averaged 12.1 points, 6.2 rebounds, 55% from the field goal area, and 78% from the free throw line. Now, just as she grew incrementally here, she did the same thing at UCF. And the reason she did that is because she was such a hard worker. You didn't need to tell Kelly a whole lot what to do. Okay, Kelly would go to work and get it done. So the transition seemed to be fairly easy for her to Division I level from the community college level. When I talked to Kelly about the induction, she said to me that she didn't think her boys really believed Mom was a player. So I decided to look at her career at MCC and her stats from UCF. And this is what I found. She scored 1,289 points, which is 11.2 points per game. Had 712 rebounds, that's 6.2. 154 steals, that's 1.5. She had a career field goal percentage of 49.5 and a free throw percentage of 70.5. Okay. Now for basketball fans or anybody that's played this game, that's quite a career. Most of us would take that, I'm sure you'd say that. Okay, so to Kelly's boys, Mom had game. She graduated from UCF with a BS in math education, and her professional career has included teaching at Palatka High School, Vanguard School in Lake Wales, Palmetto High School, the Florida Virtual School, and she is presently the ESC case manager at Manatee High School. Now somehow she has found time to achieve a BS in liberal arts, an MA in varying exceptionalities, and an educational specialist in curriculum and instruction. Also, she and her husband Wayne have sponsored a basketball travel team. As you can see, Kelly is a busy, accomplished lady. But she says her biggest accomplishment thus far in life are her twins. Our coaching staff has been fortunate to work with some tremendous young ladies. From the time Kelly set foot on MCC's campus, you could count on her to be engaged in practices and games, coachable, very willing to take instruction, quick learner, and an unselfish teammate. When you have players who are committed to a goal, coaching can be so easy. Kelly was that type of player, and you were counting your blessings that she was on your team and you didn't need to compete against her. So it's my pleasure to present the newest member of the SCF Athletics Hall of Fame after Keith, who was just inducted, Kelly Bradley Grant.
You're in the middle, and we'll get a photo.
Come in the middle.
Step right here. There we go. Take a knee. It's good. All right, it's yours. It's on yours, Kelly.
Get my stuff out of your way.
Wow, thank you so much. I appreciate that warm, very detailed explanation. If you don't know Coach Stelfox, he is going to tell you more than you know about yourself. That is the truth. When he was asking me about my junior and my senior year at UCF, I have to say, I have no idea. I have no idea. 30 years ago, right? And I said, there is no way that anybody kept as detailed stats as Coach Stelfox. When I was talking to Matt Ennis about this whole induction ceremony and Coach Stelfox and how, just the details of how it all came about, we both agreed that Wayne Stelfox, it was decades in advance of his time. He, and I'm sort of jumping because I do have I did make some notes tonight, but when you played for Coach Stelfox, he gave you that what you just saw from him every day for 2 years. If you missed a test in math, he knew. That's what I would say, he knew. But I do want to say thank you very much. This is such an honor. And it's so nice to hear such warm, generous, and kind words. You know, when I was called, I just think, my gosh, 34 years ago, that's like a lifetime. That is a lifetime. And the things that you did, and I felt like I was a kid back then. I was barely 18 coming in here. I had that late summer birthday. And when I came on this campus, I really had no idea what I was doing. I was a student at Manatee High. And I was, at best, this is no kidding, a very average player. Very average. I tried out for volleyball my freshman year. Wasn't happening. It wasn't my calling. Got cut, didn't make the team. Sophomore year, I had a friend, Missy Kavanaugh. She said, we had a shared social studies class, and she said, we need you to be on our basketball team. And my mom was like, I don't think so. You need to study. You need to go to school. You need to make good grades. You need to find a right home. And I said, okay, I got this. Okay? So from there, I did play for Coach Olson for a few years, and that was wonderful. But I tell you, back then, the opportunity for girls was just so different. You played a season, and then when I played basketball, my mom was like, hey, that's it. That's all you're going to do. You need to spend the rest of your time figuring out but not any other sport. No track, no volleyball, it's just basketball. So by junior year, I was off to the Florida State camp and was getting a little bit more committed. And then senior year at Manatee, I noticed this guy showing up at the home game, sitting in our bleachers, feverishly taking notes and it was Coach Stelfox. And he really offered myself and my teammate an opportunity to come out to MCC. And of course, we said yes. What else were we doing, right? Of course we said yes. And then the letters started coming in for summer workouts. Make sure you're doing your summer workouts. Make sure you're running those miles. Make sure you're lifting those weights. Of course we said yes. We're doing that, Coach. Uh-huh. So as we entered in August, barely 18, freshmen here at MCC, we found our classes, we found the cafeteria, found the library. He said, you know what, it's time for preseason workouts. Have you been running your miles? Of course we have. We got this. And there used to be a track on campus out there by the sand volleyball courts. I think it's overflow parking. Somebody told me it was overflow parking now. And so, honestly, I did run some over the summer, and I played a lot of ball that summer. I think we actually had a travel team, if I'm correct. From my senior to freshman, we had a travel team that was doing pretty well. And we had been working out pretty good, and I thought I was in shape. Until he wanted us to run in August at 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. How many laps, you ask? How many? At least 8. And some of those laps were timed. Everybody got a certain amount of time that they had to run the laps, or you weren't going to get into the gym.
Oh, yeah.
You weren't going to. The men's team, I have to say, the men's team thought we were crazy. Thought he was crazy. He's like, these grown men on the men's team were like, what are you guys doing? And I'm like, we're getting tan because we are out there. But, so you'd gear up and you'd say, okay, today we're going to run that 2-mile timed mile. No, we're not. No, we're doing intervals today. Next day you go out there, okay, we're going to do intervals today. No. We're going to do the timed laps, right? No. We are going to carry the medicine ball today. We're going to carry the medicine ball. And then you pass that medicine ball, and you only can run as fast as the slowest girl on the team, by the way. Surprisingly, it was a tie between a couple of us who were the slowest. But it was brutal. That heat was brutal. And those are the memories I have. So when he said, okay, now we're open for the gym and we can go in, boy, we were all ready to go in that gym. The gym had air conditioning, cold water, the essentials. I have to say, though, he often ran with us. He often ran next to us. And I'll tell you this, he often beat us around that track. My success at UCF, my success right here, I have to say, if I had gone to any other program, I would not have ended up at UCF. I would not have been a starter for UCF. The magic happened here at SCF in the gym. We had no 2-hour practices. They were anywhere from 3 to 3.5. And by the way, if practice is at 4 and you show up at 4, you're late. You show up at 30 minutes early. You get your ankles taped, get in your gym clothes, get ready to go. But my success as a lady Lancer can actually be, I just say, it is attributed to Coach Stelfox. And I am going to read this part because I tried to carefully put my words together on this. I am by far a math-oriented person. I am super analytical, and it drives a lot of people crazy, particularly my husband. But Coach Stelfox is a master of the game, paired with the ability as a great teacher. He was an amazing He was amazing at strategy. He was easily able to read a defense and adjust an offense to an open player. He would scout and share every single detail about their best players on an opposing team. We would never go into a gym and not know who did what and when. He was always scouting. More often than not, we would take the floor in a pregame warm-up. And I don't know if you've seen our Lady Lancer pictures. There's a few of them in your brochures. We did not look like tough. We did not look tough. You look across the floor. Back then, there was a lot of Division I athletes playing at this level. There was a lot of players. There were a lot of players. And I'd look across the floor, and I'd just close my eyes and concentrate on hitting the bottom of the net and not worry that we weren't prepared. He knew the offense they would run, the defense they would run, the out-of-bounds plays they would run. Always. Not sometimes, always. He always gave us a detailed scouting report. He is a very forward-thinking coach for his time, well in advance. As much detail as he would give us about the opposing team, he would give us that type of information about ourselves. So, you have to take the good with the bad, right? So after a game, like on the bench, there was always a person keeping stats. There was always a person keeping a shot chart. And then every time a person shot, there was a number, circle, they made that shot. So he could see where players were excelling and where the sweet spots were for a particular player. He would also, not in Excel spreadsheet form, in handwritten form, give us the whole team the next day at the next meeting or the next practice. And he would be like, here you go, here's yours. And everybody saw the same information. So, first box, number of shots made, number of shots attempted. Number of free throws made, number of free throws attempted. Number of steals, number of turnovers, number of bad passes, number of tie-ups. I mean, the information, everything was marked with positives and negatives. And then at the end of that column, you better hope you have a good score, because that is what's going to give you some playing time for coach. Super detail-oriented. You know, when I went off to UCF, and I think that at the time that you're in this, you're 17, 18, 19 years old. And you don't understand, you just think everybody does it this way. I mean, what do you know? Like, I came from a high school to a college, and I'm thinking everybody does it this way, right? No? No, it wasn't until I left here, went to a different campus, went to a different program, went to a Division I university, and we never got that kind of feedback, and just different strokes for different folks, I guess. But I really appreciated all the feedback. Because the training here was so intense, it really prepared me for UCF. I had zero issue going into that school, taking the court, being a part of the team. It was seamless. It was seamless. And it was really because of the training we had here. When I graduated from UCF, I took a job. There was no teaching jobs. It was around 1990. And it's just funny the way this sport, I played for 3 years in high school, I played for 4 years in college, and UCF was kind enough to give me an extra year of academic studies. They really took care of us out there as far as if you want to take summer classes, if you want to get a second degree. That's really how I ended up with 2 degrees out of UCF. So when I graduated, there was no rush to graduate college because I thought, number one, I'm having a great time, and then number two, there was no jobs for teachers, and here I am with a math education degree with no jobs. So for every one job that was open, there was 200 applicants. But part of UCF's exit program is you have to create a resume. So I created a resume, and I spent, no kidding, 5 minutes on it, because I thought this is pointless. I was working in a kitchen for an airline, at the time, and I just thought there's no jobs. Even classmates whose mom and dad were principals, there was no jobs for teachers at that time. So I went ahead and I was like, I really emphasized the fact that I was an athlete, I played ball, I did math education degree, liberal arts degree, and lo and behold, somebody called and they don't need a math teacher, they need a basketball coach. I'm like, really? How is this gonna work? And they go, oh, and by the way, we have a math opening. We need a basketball coach, and so my first year out of college, when none of my friends had jobs, I had friends who put out hundreds of applications, hundreds of resumes, and they said, they go, we need a coach. Packed up, left Orlando, and went to Palatka High School. Got out there for 1 year. Hello, if you've ever been there, you might understand. You walk in, 2 nurseries in the school. It was just an interesting environment. So I stayed there for 1 year. The next year, I was like, I got to get out of here. It's time to go. And got a job. I got interested in special education very, very early, and there was a boarding school in Lake Wales. So I don't know why, I called Coach up, and I said, yeah, I'm down here and I'm interviewing, and I think they just offered me a job. Like, I think I'm good. I think they offered me a job. And I said, I'm going to go around and look for a place to live. And he said, oh my gosh, he said, Weber University is there. You need to go by Weber University. And Pam Bellamy is working at this university, and I'm going to call her on the phone right now. And I think she can help you locate a place to live. So called him back in about 30 minutes or 40 minutes, and he's like, yes, go, she's working right now. So I walked in, and now Pam was not ever, I think we played that summer league together. From my senior year, I was coming in as a freshman, she was exiting to Weber. So we had a couple games together, and she probably thought I was a hot mess because I was a senior out of high school and I didn't know what I was doing on the basketball court just yet. But she said, Kelly, come on in. She goes, Coach Stelfox called me. Come in. You need a place to live? I got a place for you to live. I'm like, Pam, you don't even know what I'm doing yet. I don't even know what I'm doing. She goes, Kelly, here's some keys. These people, there's tons of apartments in Babson Park. There's beautiful homes in Babson Park. I got you. So one phone call, and I lived there for a year. She gave me the keys. I met the people, and I went. I was good for a year, and then I left that job. And I ended up back here in Manatee County, and we have been here. I've been teaching for 27 years. It took me 2 jobs to get here, guys. So, and I'll tell you, the basketball is embedded in our life, in my life. I'm married. My husband is here today. He was a ball player himself in Canada for many years, and we started a team called the Bradenton Ballers, and we had shopped around through different little programs for our twins, and just were never quite satisfied with the coaching. From the time they were little, I was teaching them how to shoot. From the time they were little, I was giving them instruction on just good form, how to do things properly, how to do things the right way. And we've had teams, I think it was up until last year, when they hit 6th grade, it was time to sort of let somebody else take the reins with them. And they are proudly over at Bradenton Christian, and the coaching style out there is very similar to what we're used to. They really stress the fundamentals. They stress good sportsmanship. They stress hard work. I tell them all the time, and this is what's, this is what I've figured out, and I tell them all the time, you can be the brightest shining star, but you have to work hard. And I don't care if you're working hard in backgammon, or you're working hard in basketball, or you're working hard in tennis. You have to work hard to get ahead. And that's what we do, and that's what we teach them. I'm also a teacher over at Manatee High, and I've had a great career out there as well. So I've been blessed. But I think I would be, the one thing I really wanted to do today, because I think when you're going through and you're so young and you're going through a program, you just see the trees in front of you. You don't see the forest. And so I really felt like tonight I wanted to take that opportunity to not only thank Coach, but I also wanted to thank Mrs. Stelfox, Anne Marie, because it was only through that team effort that they saw so many girls and young women come through their program. Many of the ladies that I was with on this SCF team went on. They went on to other schools and other universities and were very successful. Most of my teammates all got college degrees, most all of them. Now, the kids that were at UCF, some of them didn't graduate. These girls, 2 years here, 2 years of good study habits, they went on, they graduated. Now, they didn't. Some of them played basketball, some of them switched universities, but they graduated. But it was really through their dedication, support, encouragement, torture, that we excelled, and we as a team, and we're successful. It really, really was through that leadership, through coaching. So I do want to thank Coach Stelfox, because probably back then I really didn't see it. And then when you have your own kids, you see it. You see it. We've had coaches that just do crazy things. But I am truly grateful, blessed, and thank you so much for this honor. Thank you. Thank you.
Don't forget that. That's yours.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Let's give Kelly another round of applause. I have the great pleasure of introducing our next inductee. I got to meet this gentleman a few years back when he reached out to me and just sharing with me the tradition that we had in track and field. And I was struck by how remarkable that is, that the days of the sport have passed, but he's still passionate about the college, still passionate about who we are and who we were at that time. And it struck me about who he is as an individual. As an athlete, he was simply remarkable. We have a lot of accomplishments in from our student athletes that are in our Hall of Fame. But one thing that we don't have much of is national champions. And this gentleman was a national champion in the 440 hurdles. Not only was he a national champion in the 440 hurdles, but he broke the school record in that meet and the national tournament record. So he didn't just go get that championship, he crushed it. And I think that's remarkable. When I talk to him, I find that he never loses focus on the team. He'll talk about what he accomplished. And in a sport where it's very easy to lose focus on the team, he quickly ties back to the coaches, to the other gentlemen that were on the team who competed with him, and the accomplishment of the team of finishing 13th in the nation. So without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Ken Green to the podium to be inducted as a member of the State College of Florida Hall of Fame. Let's give
first, before I delve into this, how about a couple of funny stories? Okay. I came to MJC at the time in 1967. Coach Wilbur Hicks recruited me from Northeast High School, where I attended. And Wilbur was a different person. He was very dedicated to the sport and stuff, but he liked having fun. One of these fun things that he did with him and his javelin thrower was Ray Barnes, was to catch the javelin in midair. I watched them do this several times, they never missed. They would actually catch that javelin in midair. Crazy as it seems, that's exactly what they did. Now the other thing, Dr. Sam Neal also was a sprinter. He was the president at the time of MJC at the time. And he would come to just to watch us and stuff and cheer us on. And we were practicing everything. And the team captain, J.B. Wilson and Jim Macaluso, were also on the team and stuff. And back then, there was a thing called streaking. And yeah, you know where I'm going with this. So Jim and JB, excuse me, pretty much, excuse me, would, talk about it. And one day they said, well, let's just do it. So they got out, they ran around the campus, and they came around to the front, and all of a sudden, Dr. Neal was there. So he chewed him out pretty good and stuff. That was one thing that he definitely did. So anyway, I would like to thank the committee for selecting me as an inductee into the Athletic Hall of Fame. It is an honor to stand here today and accept the award. Support of the athletes who have achieved excellence in their field not only strengthens the individuals, but the overall community as well. The dedication, perseverance, and goal setting required for their success is character builder that lasts a lifetime. In 1966 and 67, Coach Wilbur Hicks recruited a group of outstanding athletes for the school's track program. MJC at the time was what they were called. They won the state championship in 1967. In 1968, the team won many meets and events throughout the year, leading up to the National Junior College Track Championship in Garden City, Kansas. That was an exciting time. Our talented group of athletes went to nationals. In that meet, I'm proud of the first place I took in the 440-yard intermediate hurdles, which Matt mentioned set a new meet record. The team also placed fifth in the 440-yard relay, fifth in the mile relay, as winning other events that day. It was a pretty big deal for us, for all the hard work had paid off. Overall, out of 36 schools scoring points, MJC placed 13. Therefore, it's of special significance to me that the track program of the years past finally has come to a place in the Hall of Fame. Thank you for the honor and all the time that I had spent here. Thank you very much.
Grab that trophy and take a photo real quick.
Yes, sir, we will.
Did you lose her?
Okay.
Congratulations
All right,
again.
buddy. Thanks, Matt. I appreciate it.
Let's give Ken another round of applause. In my time here, seems short because it's been 15 years now, but in my time here, I've had the privilege of doing this just a couple times, where a student athlete who played while I was either the athletic trainer or athletic director is honored with this privilege, and it never loses its significance with me. So I'm extremely honored to be able to share a bit about Mariana with you. When we decided to start a tennis program, she was one of the first people that Coach Nagelson went after. And we had no idea at the time, I think, the player that we were getting, but more importantly, the individual that we were getting and the character that she had. You can read in the program that her sophomore season, she didn't lose. That's pretty significant. Considering in 2 years she lost twice. That's really impressive. Region championship as a team, a foundation for the program as it got started. We talk about the tradition of excellence. Well, tennis is the new kid on the block, and they came out swinging when they started, and that's a credit to individuals like Mariana. So I would like to ask Mariana Palacios to join me at the podium to be inducted into the SCF Hall of Fame.
All right, hi everybody. It's been well said, the key thing in life is not to find your freedom, but to find your master. And when you find the right master, you will have your freedom. I've been blessed throughout my entire life, my childhood, my high school, and my college career to have a handful of masters, starting from my family. My parents and my brothers had the amazing energy and time every single day starting at 4 a.m. to make sure I would perform 200% in the tennis court and in the classroom. So today I just want to say a big thank you to them because they led me to where I am today, to be able to take into advantage of the opportunities in life. I was ready to perform for Betsy. She is one of the best mentors and coaches and just human being that any student athlete could pray for. When all my teammates, including myself, we just reached our highest level in our game because of her. Like, she and the rest of other coaches that came with us in those 2 first years, they just put extreme hard work in the court, making sure our technique was right, our conditioning was right, and we were able to perform and just win so many matches and tournaments. And I'm just so blessed and thankful and grateful for that, to Betsy, who is here. And nothing, I just want to end with thank you to Matt and just the SCF Athletic Organization for having me here today. I'm more than honored to accept this award and just very blessed and thankful for everything. Thank you.
Definitely the loudest cheering. Here this evening is about celebrating our best and celebrating the sacrifices and the commitment to excellence that each of these individuals have made. The understanding that through those sacrifices, greater things can happen for the team and for the institution. And for that, we're extremely thankful for them and for the time and effort that they put into being a Lancer or Manatee. That is extremely significant to us. As the evening ends, I want to say a special thank you to METV for being here, for filming this so that this can stay alive for us, and to all of our sponsors again for everything that they have done. I want to thank our Hall of Famers that have just newly been inducted, but all those that return each year. I want to thank you for chasing excellence. I want to thank you for your passion towards being the best. I hope that for our student athletes that attended tonight, that they can feel and see what this institution, what this college, what this place, these coaches, what it has meant to these individuals in their lives. And I hope that in years forward, we're sharing these same ceremonies as you're inducted into the Hall of Fame. Tomorrow, we have a significant day, and I invite you to join us as we have our second annual tennis alumni match. We have our softball alumni game and our baseball alumni game. And just because 3's not enough, we're going to have a conference basketball game at 4 o'clock. So come on out and pick up one of those events. It's with a humble heart that I thank you for spending your time with us this evening and honoring all of these individuals. Please drive safely as you head home. Thank you. I'd like to ask the new inductees to come up here so we can get a group photo.